Well, it's time for the Daily Three. That's three questions, 3 minutes. Sam, take it away.
You got it. Let's touch on the other sports. The Wild winning 5-1 last night against Edmonton. Obviously, not a lot of people watching that on TV. They were all locked into the Wolves, but a couple potent offenses here in the Twin Cities, Ron. The Wild are fifth in scoring in the NHL. The Timberwolves, as we know, they finished first in scoring in the regular season in the NBA. Weren't quite as impressive last night. That's okay. Which offense, Ron, do you trust more, the Wild or the Wolves?
Well, the Wolves are the 7th seed. They're playing the Grizzlies. You saw what happens with foul trouble early with Cat. Without D'Angelo Russell helping them out. Again, we always talk about the big three, and I wanted to hit on your analogy of the big three in golf. I'm gonna say if 2 or 3 are working, you're still probably not doing well. If your driver is off, you're screwed. If your putter is off, you're screwed. But in basketball, you can get away with it. I don't trust their offense, though. I still want to see more consistency. I need to see the big two, which would be Karl-Anthony Towns and Anthony Edwards, or Karl-Anthony Towns and either of the two. But I think Anthony Edwards is the big two with Karl-Anthony Towns. And then D'Angelo Russell giving you a solid 18 to 22. Or all three just being over 20 points. Like that would be a cool stat line as well. Especially if you had 2 of them with a double, or all 3 with a double, one with assists, the other 2 are rebounds. Like that's a cool stat line. But I mean, when you look at the Wild, I mean, you got Kirill Kaprizov leading the team right now. They're 45-21-6. They're second in the Central Division. They're filling the net up. I mean, 5-1. It's exciting. They're out there skating. You got Marcus Foligno. He's in there with the most penalty minutes. So they have a guy that's really not afraid to mix it up when he has to. You look at Matt Zuccarello right behind him in assists, but he's also second in points. Kevin Fiala as well. So they have 3 guys in Fiala, Zuccarello, and Kaprizov that are absolutely going off right now. Teams are going to have to score a lot to beat the Wild. And we know it's a game of streaks. Like when you're confident and that net looks as big as the ocean and you can just skate down, you're skating faster, you're getting into your zone quicker, you're pressing the issue in the creases, you're being a little bit more aggressive with other teams. Teams don't feel like they can bully you. I think that's what happens a lot of times with the Penguins. When you look at Crosby, people were always trying to bully him and then he had to have guys help him out. You don't see that with the Wild. You don't see guys thinking they could pick on Kaprizov, or you don't see guys thinking that Zuccarello is going to be an easy one. Like they know this is going to be a fight. They're going to have to get out there and skate, and they're exciting. So I can't say the Timberwolves. I trust the Wild a little bit more right now, and I'm not even a hockey guy, but just from watching, highlights here and there, and then watching a little bit of the game before the Timberwolves game last night, they're quick and they're fast, and I think that's the key. They're going to fill up the net fast. And, even when it was 3-1, I think somebody was like, oh, the Wild have to make sure they don't screw it up. And I keep forgetting hockey's so quick that you can score 2 goals in the matter of seconds if you really are pushing the issue. And so they flipped it. They scored the 2 goals and went up 5-1 versus them coming back on them and tying it up 3-3. So that just shows how good they are. So I got to go with the Wild.
Yeah, I mean, I like the Wolves' depth, but I like the Wild depth more. And the Wolves play a couple of guys pretty huge minutes, McDaniels and Vanderbilt. I know it's for defensive reasons, and they're great at that. They're valuable. But they also have those 2 guys on the floor, a lot of minutes not scoring points. I don't trust McDaniels or Vanderbilt on offense. So if you get a couple of guys in foul trouble, then I don't trust that Wolves offense. Whereas I think the Wild have so many options on all 4 lines that I do trust their offense a bit more, even though they're 5th and the Wolves were 1st. Let me move on to topic number 2 in the Daily 3. Dalvin Cook is switching from number 33 to number 4 now that the NFL allows those single-digit jersey numbers. Ron, I know you're kind of attached to that number 3, so let me ask you this. How much would you have paid to get number 3 in the NFL? And for reference, Dalvin Cook said that if he had switched last year, it would have cost him $1.2 million.
Yeah, so I know with the jersey sales and all that stuff, you have to go through the cycle and you have to petition and let the league know for dollar purposes, so they don't spend this offseason making a bunch of Dalvin Cook number 33 jerseys. So the fact that he let the league know early, he told him he wanted to do it, he found out the right time, with his player rep and all that stuff. Now all the, investors, Nike, all these people that have to make these jerseys know, okay, we need to start producing fours. And so it's going to be funny. I'm guessing right after the draft. You probably already have people ordering Cook fours on, fan or whatever, the Fanatic site and all that stuff. And Nike.com. I'm pretty sure people have, because you can make your own jersey. People have probably started ordering 4 Cooks, but it's going to start to show like at the draft. At US Bank Stadium, I'm pretty sure they're going to have possibly a couple Dalvin Cook 4s in the store if they happen to have the store open, because this is the first year in a while. I did the draft the last 2 years from my basement. And then ended up doing the other one from TCO. So this year I have to go to US Bank Stadium to do the draft pregame show. And then I'm going to TCO to do the draft breakdown every day. So Thursday, Friday, Saturday, the Vikings have me coming over doing the draft breakdown. What do I think? So I'll actually have some of the draft picks early, but I can't leak them. But I definitely will tease some of the stuff that I know, because I get to actually watch the draft room, and they're usually 15 picks ahead. But how much would I have paid for number 3? I don't think I would have paid a lot. One, because back when I played, single digits weren't actually cool. Single digit was the guy that, like, I had 11 with the Bears because I just had 11 because all the 80s were taken. And the minute I got to get 81 after they cut a guy, I felt better. Like, I felt like, okay, I got an 80 number. I'm on this team. And then, of course, I hurt my knee in the first game, and that's all she wrote. But that like single digits back then, there were quarterbacks. It wasn't like guys warm in practice. Like, I remember Ray Lewis and all the linebackers one week wore all single digits in practice. I don't know why. They just did it. But yeah, I don't know if I would have paid a lot. Like, I don't think I would have paid anything. Like, I think just 83, because I wanted the 3, so they gave me 83. And I think that was the times then. Like, I sound like maybe a guy on the grass water my lawn saying get off my lawn, and an old dude. But yeah, I was used to the norm of that. Like Cam Dantzler wearing 3 this year, I don't know how good that's going to look. We'll have to see, but he's so slim. That 3 is so slim, and the Vikings colors with 3 just makes me think of Blair Walsh. So I don't know how I'm going to take to Cam Dantzler in it. Hopefully he has a great year in 3, because I love 3. Like, that's my number. I'm rocking with him. But yeah, every time I see 3 in a Vikings color, I think Blair Walsh. And so I'm pretty sure the first time something happens or a mistake happens, people are going to make that correlation of here we go again or something. And, but yeah, no, I don't think I would have paid a ton for it.
This is great news for Brett Favre jersey owners, because they can now take a piece of tape and they can cover up the Favre and put Cook, and they've got their jersey. Save a little dough.
Yeah, that's what happened.
Topic number 3, Chris Finch, Wolves coach. He signed an extension earlier this week. I'm curious, Ron, where you think he ranks among the top coaches in this market?
Yeah, so I'm going to go off Twitter mentions sensationality, like what people are craving right now. Kevin O'Connell, unfortunately, is number 1, only because he's the head football coach for the football team, and football is one of the top. But then I'm going to say Dean Evison. He's right up there next because of how good the Wild are. Dean Evison in some people's houses probably are on top of Kevin O'Connell. So I'd say they're 1A and 1B. I'm going to go PJ Fleck next. I think PJ Fleck, he's sensational. No. I'm going to go Cheryl Reeve. Cheryl Reeve is going to be 3 with the Lynx. Then I'm going to go PJ Fleck. And then I will say Chris Finch. Now, Chris Finch, most likely, if they knock off the 2, he'll jump that and be a solid 2 behind O'Connell and Dean Evison. If he goes further than that, like if he pulls off a miracle and somehow makes it to the Western Conference Finals, then he's up there. Like, he might be ahead of those 2, because nobody's done that. Nobody's been there to get that done in this town since Mike Zimmer, and we know what happened against the Eagles. And so, I'd say he's in that mix, but right now, I'd have to put him behind PJ Fleck, just because he's new. Last year they weren't good. He did get the contract extension, but that's one of those, what have you done for me lately? And he's done a lot, and so they're going to give him the money now. But I'd have to put him behind Cheryl Reeve because she's won championships. But he's coming. Like, if he continues on this pace where they can make the playoffs the next 2 or 3 years, and he's always a conversation, it's no question of, is he going to get fired? Like, if he has a blazing egg next year, all of a sudden, and they drop back to the basement where they're fighting for the 8 seed, I think people are going to, or they're in the 9 and the 10 play-in spot and they lose and they're out. I think people are going to question that. Like, did they extend them too soon? Is this another Minnesota coaching mistake, giving a guy money that doesn't deserve it? But that's where I'd put him.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's hard to go with anyone but Reeve for just overall coaching chops because she's done this for 10, 15 years at a super high level. So
Correct.
many coaches in this market are new. I mean, Rocco Baldelli is in his
Oh, I
fourth
forgot about him too.
year,
Yeah.
and
Yep.
he's still pretty new. Evanson's in his second year, Finch in his first full-time year, O'Connell first full-time year, Ben Johnson his first year. So there's just not a lot of veteran coaches left in this market. So Reeve almost kind of takes it by default, but Finch obviously has a ton of momentum. Bonus
Yeah.
question, real fast. What is the best arena for a playoff atmosphere in the Twin Cities?
Well, I was there for the Minneapolis Miracle. I don't think every playoff game has that energy, but that was electric. The Timberwolves, the play-in game, I guess you would say, was playoff atmosphere, but I want to see an actual like game 1, 2, 3, 4 with these Grizzlies. Like, what does that atmosphere look like? Are the fans going to have that same energy? Because D'Angelo Russell talked about that. Stand the whole time until our first basket and all that kind of stuff like college. Let's see if it happens. Let's see what these fans decide to do. If they're going to be loud the entire time, if they're going to scream and make it tough for the other team. I'm going to say the Timberwolves playoff atmosphere, but then you look at the Wild, it's loud, it's crazy in there. That's tough. That's a tough one. I'm just going to naturally say the Wild because I know these fans are crazy and drinking beer and, being drunk is a norm there, like throwing beer up against a glass, people get knocked over. Like that's a norm for that. When that red light flashes after a goal, I'm going to go Wild. Then I'll go Vikings. Then I'll go Timberwolves. From there, Lynx just don't feel the building, and it doesn't have the same energy. They've won championships, so then I'd have to say them fourth, and then the Twins. We'll see what happens. That having to face the Yankees always in that first game for the playoff or whatever, or quick series, that never is good. So hopefully they can find a better team in that first early games and if they can make the playoffs. But yeah, that they'd be fifth.
Yeah, I've been to playoff games in most of the venues, and it depends so much on the game, right? Because the Twins playoff games I've been to, they laid an egg. It wasn't a good atmosphere. And I'll hit you with kind of an off the beaten path one. My favorite atmosphere ever. Game 5 of the WNBA Finals at Williams Arena. When Target Center was getting refurbished, I think, the Lynx played the finals at Williams Arena, packed the place, and that's a great venue. So
Because it's close. Yeah, that is.
it was a little bit obscure, but that was definitely my favorite.